Welcome to the 3D Ghost universe, a place dedicated to 3D creation and 3D printing. In this video, we will see how to transform a 2D image into a 3D printable object with the help of Blender. And it will be by importing an SVG file, and if you don't know how to create an SVG file from a 2D image, you should take a look at part 2. Here I am in Blender and I will prepare my scene in order to create an object coming from an import SVG. So I will clean the scene, I will go to the units of the scene and I will go to known unit system. Then right here, taking a moment to activate the shortcut viewer, you will have information of what I'm doing right here. If we go to the view or to the item, when we will have one, we will work in millimeters. The unit will not be here, but we know that it's in millimeters. So we go to File, we go to Import, we go to SVG, and now it's a shape that we created with the application Adobe Capture. You can watch part 2 about it. So let's go with the import. We cannot see anything, probably because the object is too small, but right here in the scene collection, you can see one curve and another curve right here. So we will select the first one. We will go on our numpad period. Okay, it's not working. Why? Selecting period. Normally we have a zoom. Okay, thank you. Now we have a zoom on the object. Now that we can see the object, we have one curve here, another curve right here. We will work only with one object, so select everything, you go to object and you go to join. Here we go, only one curve to work with. The other thing is that, as you can see, it's black. We have the reflection of the light, so probably you have a material. We will go right here. Of course, we have one, so we will delete the material. We don't care about rendering. We are working on something that we will print, so it's okay. We are in solid mode and we are seeing with the classical view. So what can we do with that? Of course, we will create some volume in order to create a 3D object, but the import of the SVG create curve, and with a curve, if you go to edit mode, we will have the possibility to modify the shape in a natural way. We will respect the fact that it's a drawing object, and we will modify the curve. So probably like this. It's a quick and dirty work. I will not do exactly what you will have to do. It's just for example, so we will go right here, and why I'm doing this is that I want to create a thickness enough in order to be able to print the object. If you take a look at part 1, you will understand why I'm doing that, because when you create a shape, if this is too thick right here, you will not be able to have a clean print. Your nozzle will be too big in order to print it. So we want a correct object. So you have to do some quick modification, and it's easier to do it with a curve than to do it with a mesh. So it's better to work now on the object in order to create the thickness that you want, and that will be able to be printed. So once again, it's a quick and dirty work for this example. So I'm only taking a few minutes just for giving you a visibility on what will happen on Ultimaker Cura. Oh, it's really ugly what I'm doing here, but we will say that no. Yeah, it's much better. So we will say that I respect the fact that it was a drawn object. We will go, maybe we will work a little bit on the leg too. Okay, what you can do is select 2 points, right click, subdivide, and you can work even more on the object, even more on the curve. So it's quite correct, it's quite decent to have something much better than you could expected in 3D Builder in the last part 1 and part 2, where when we work with software that are simplest, but it's more difficult to create a great thing. Blender is more sophisticated, we will say. I hope that it's a word in English. So, right here, I think that I will have the thickness enough to have a good printable object. I will not touch this part and we will have something to compare to. So we will say that I'm happy with my work. So now going back into object mode, it's called user perspective right here because I'm moving the view, but you can see right here it's object mode. Here too, it's always user perspective, but it's edit mode. So in object mode, now I will convert this object into a mesh, this curve into a mesh. So I will go to object, convert to mesh. Now, if we go back in edit mode, we can see vertices, edges, faces. It's a flat object, but it's a mesh. So we will select everything, we will go to face, and we will extrude. And now we have a 3D shape. We have something printable, we have a 3D object. So then the next things to do, you go to object mode and you will change the size, the scale of the object. We will say that I want something, it's maybe 8 centimeters high. So on the y-axis, because remember that the object is on the bed, we will say that for a 3D printer it's on the bed, it's on the ground. Okay, so on the y-axis we will say 80 millimeters, and we will keep the same scale in order to have exactly the same object. Okay, much bigger, but now when we will export, it will be okay for Ultimaker Cura. So I'm happy with the size of the object, Control A, I will apply all transformation, and now the scale is 1. This is the real size of the object regarding Blender. So I can export that, but if we want to stay with the idea of what we have created in part 1 and part 2, we will add something. We will add a cube. So maybe I want to center the object where the origin is. So, sorry. Shift F, selection to cursor. No. Shift F, selection to, what can we do? Oh, okay, we don't have any center point for this. We don't have any origin. We will say origin to geometry, and then we have the object exactly where we want. If we undo that, we will see the origin of the object was at the center of the universe. So set origin to geometry, and automatically, because the origin was already where the cursor was, it's okay. We now have a centered object. So we will go to add. We will add a new object, a cube, and now we will resize the cube in order to have something around the shape that we previously created. So we say that we go with 80, so this time I will go with 100. What is the size on the x-axis? Okay, so we will go with 60. Okay. 2 millimeters, it's probably not enough, so we will go with 5. Okay, I want to go to my duck. My duck, we will say 10. Okay, and now we will do the placement on the z-axis. You can do it randomly. Maybe you will activate the snapping tool for faces. and you will snap the object. Maybe if we zoom, it will be easier to do it. Okay, not on this face. It's almost here. It's quite difficult. Why? Maybe we will change to volume. Much better. Okay, so now you will have this object on this object. So the global thing will be 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters. I don't want this. I want maybe a little less. So I can grab, deactivate the snapping tool, and can do it manually. I will see where the object is. If I want to have more information, go to wireframe mode, and now you can see exactly where the object is regarding the other object. Go back to solid mode. Okay, so we will say that this is exactly what I want to print. Maybe not. I will move a little bit the duck, Donald Duck, yeah, a duck, on the x-axis. Okay, it's centered. We will say that I'm happy with that. Taking everything, I go to File, to Export, STL, go to my folder, and now it will be duck in Blender. Selection only, and it will be okay for me. Let's go in Ultimaker Cura. Alright, we can see that the size is okay, no problem with that. I will go with a classical nozzle, 0.4, best quality. Okay, I'm not changing anything on the profile. I want to slice, and I will go to preview, in order to see what will happen. Okay, so the modification that I made right here on the curve create something that we will be able to print. But as you can see, where there is no modification, it's quite difficult. So the first thing to do, like in part 1, we will go with a smaller nozzle. And we will change it. We will change the profile in order to go to the best possible quality with small layers. And now it's probably adding, yes, more materials to print. And of course, the bigger the object will be, the better you will have the lines. So maybe we can go with... it's too big. A little bit too big. Okay, we go with this size. It's cheating a little bit in order to have everything. So if you want something with precision, if you want exactly the size, you will have no choice that to work on the curve. And so you will have to work with Blender. It's impossible to do that with 3D Builder. Now we almost have the entire object, but I will say that even if it's good on the screen, you will have some trouble by printing this shape. I'm quite sure that the plastic will not be good right here. Maybe you will have some cuts, maybe it will be destroyed. Right here you will not have anything printed. So always going with the modification of the curve in order to add some thickness. So it's simple, but you will have a little work to do if you want to take a drawing, and to modify it into a 3D object.